Malázia, Senhor Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim, se tama mai a plenária onde sessão da começa e telespectadores no 20 Rádio Parlamento Nacional e frequência nulo recém 2.5 MHz, nessa boa tirar na ecrã e tem o primeiro presidente do Parlamento Nacional, distinta deputada Maria Fernanda Lai, cimo diretamente senhor primeiro-ministro Malázia, senhor Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim, acompanha a delegação, continua a baixar gabinete do presidente do Parlamento Nacional. Os telespectadores no 20 Rádio Parlamento Nacional e frequência sinulo recém 2.5 MHz, que tem acesso ao canal, né? Também depois, fila Russi, gabinete presidente do Parlamento Nacional, e a Tubalo, se continua mais a plenária, onde dirige sessão solene, vai visita Sua Excelência Primeiro-Ministro, senhor Sri Dato Anwar Ibrahim.
instantes, daremos início à sessão solene da visita oficial de Sua Excelência, o Primeiro-Ministro da Malázia, Sr. Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim. Senhores convidados, peço-vos para se erguerem. Senhores convidados, peço-vos para se erguerem. Estão, neste momento, a chegar à sala da plenária do Parlamento Nacional, Sua Excelência, o Primeiro-Ministro da Malázia, Sr. Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim, e Sua Excelência, a Presidente do Parlamento Nacional, Maria Fernanda Lai. Continuemos de pé para ouvirmos a entoação do hino nacional da Malázia e do hino nacional da República Democrática de Timor-Leste. Ilustres convidados, distintos deputados, peço-vos para se acomodarem. Sua Excelência, Presidente do Parlamento Nacional, irá agora declarar aberta a sessão plenária e dará a palavra aos representantes da bancada parlamentar.
Sua Excelência, o Primeiro-Ministro da Malázia, Sr. Anwar bin Ibrahim, e a sua distinta delegação. Sua Excelência, o Primeiro-Ministro e Vice-Primeiros-Ministros, Sua Excelência, o Presidente do Tribunal de Recurso, ex-Presidente do Parlamento Nacional, distintos deputados, membros do 9º Governo Constitucional, chefe do Estado-Maior das Forças Armadas, comandante-geral da Polícia Nacional de Timor-Leste, corpo diplomático aqui presente, distintos convidados, senhoras e senhores. Declaro aberta a sessão solene de hoje e dou diretamente a palavra à bancada do CNRT.
Excelentíssimo Sr. Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim, Primeiro-Ministro da Malázia. Distinta Deputada Maria Fernanda Lai, Presidente do Parlamento Nacional. Sua Excelência Primeiro-Ministro e ilustres membros do Governo. Distintas deputadas e distintos deputados. Distintos representantes do Corpo Diplomático e a Timor-Leste. Excelência, representantes dos partidos políticos e estimados cidadãos presentes, caríssimos convidados. Excelências, ónra 𝐬𝐸𝐻𝐿𝐬𝐚𝐿, na CONU o sentido amizade no fraterna, bancada sinerteia Parlamento Nacional Timor-Leste, hato bem-vindo a Sua Excelência Primeiro-Ministro Malázia, Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim. Nova distinto delegação Sira, nebe acompanha visita oficial mai iha Timor-Leste. Itabot sirne presença ihane, no dar afirmação concreto no esforço macas serviço diplomático presidência Malázia Nian, onde suporta Timor-Leste sai membro pleno ba ASEAN. No amifiar katak, Timor-Leste se contribui mos ba ia desenvolvimento nação Sira e a Sudeste Asiático. E a momento histórico idané, a minha cara que agradece o apoio tomac, Estado no povo Malázia Nian, mai iha Timor-Leste, desde Tinan 1999, a Missão Segurança ONU Nian, não fornece programa formação 𝐬𝐸𝐻𝐿𝐬𝐻, para desenvolvimento recurso humano, mai iha Timor-Leste. E a início Timor-Leste independente, Malázia nesse país idanebe hari uluk nini embaixada, no dar ação diplomático mai ia Timor-Leste, nelo que oromatan ba Timoroan Sira, o de acesso ba universidade Sira ia Malázia, não prepara Timor-Leste nem recursos humanos, o hari ricas Timor-Leste a foi em estragos total ba nia infraestrutura. Hotulun sirne hotu, bancada sinerte representa povo tomac, a cara cato a minha crescimento bot ba Estado no povo Malázia. Lihusi Excelência Primeiro-Ministro Malázia, nebe agora iha a minha ler. Excelências, e o processo de reconstrução de Timor-Leste, Sua Excelência banhira to iha a Timor-Leste, bele hare basic ba a minha esforço 𝐬𝐸𝐻𝐿𝐬𝐻 agora. A mi continua a dia a minha rain, construir estradas no pontes, aeroporto no portos, a mi hari habitação ba povo, desenvolve áreas de saúde, educação, agricultura, não hadia superestrutura adequada. Hametin confiança internacional, ou conferência no Expo Internacional 𝐬𝐸𝐻𝐿𝐬𝐻. Hametin estabilidade, pode contribuir para a paz e a região idané. E a área política região asiático, A minha cara que manifesta a minha seriedade, hori adere ba ASEAN. Timor-Leste ativamente participa e encontro no Fórum OIOIN ASEAN, inclui encontro ministros de negócios estrangeiros CIRA, encontro chefe governo CIRA, participa cimeira no Fórum Circelo e a Fórum Alto Cirne. Timor-Leste contribui ideias na sugestão política ASEAN, liliu e a área Cirne relevante para interesse país e da IDAC. Por exemplo, questão emprego, desenvolvimento e habilidade no desenvolvimento sustentável. Além de a halao 𝐬𝐞𝐬𝐿 mantém estabilidade na segurança, inclui promover democracia, direitos humanos, na paz e a região sudeste asiático. E a contexto de participação parlamentar Parlamento Nacional de Timor-Leste participa ativamente e a Associação Parlamentar ASEAN, AIPA. Nós saímos observador desde 2018. Timor-Leste participa e o Fórum Regional ASEAN no halao relação diplomático com a nação Sanulu ASEAN. No assina o tratado amizade no cooperação, Treaty Amity and Cooperation. No dar compromisso no seriedade órgão representação povo nian. Hodilori Timor-Leste sem membro ASEAN. A minha cara que informa Katak, membro AIPA for apoio para Timor-Leste e ninia processo atu sem membro pleno para ASEAN. Não é a missão na assistência, formação na capacitação para funcionário do Parlamento Nacional Timor-Leste nian. Hori conclui, Timor-Leste compromete-se e continua a contribuição para a ASEAN, inclui aspectos financeiros para o secretariado ASEAN. No Centro de Assistência Humanitária, se continua a participar ativo do Fórum ASEAN, na discussão CIRA. Se folia no ideias construtivas para a política ASEAN. A me deseja para Itabot, a comitiva toma a tua estadia memorável ida e a Timor-Leste. Rico o intercâmbio produtivo CIRA, não marca o a minha povo larandia de CIRA. Bem-vindo, maia uma fukun povo Timor-Leste nian idane. Obrigado.
De seguida, dou a palavra à bancada do PD.
Muito obrigada, Sr. Presidente. Your Excellency, Madam President of the National Parliament of Timor-Leste, Yang Amat Berhormat Dato Seri Anwar Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia, Minister Sanana Gusmao, Your Excellency, President of the Court of Appeal, Honorable members of the National Parliament, distinguished members of the government, members of the diplomatic corps, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, on behalf of the Democratic Party, I extend a warm welcome to great leader and friend of the East Timorese people, Yang Amat Berhormat Prime Minister Dato Seri Anwar Ibrahim. We are truly honored to have Yang Amat Berhormat Dato Seri Anwar Ibrahim here today in this solemn plenary session. As a leader of the Democratic Party, we believe that your visit to the National Parliament offers valuable insight into parliamentary diplomacy, bilateral relations, and regional cooperation. It is undeniable that since the beginning of our independence, the Kingdom of Malaysia has been a generous bilateral partner, actively engaging in Timor-Leste's development across various sectors, including health, education, commerce, and more. Therefore, we are honored to thank Yang Amat Berhormat Prime Minister Dato Seri Anwar Ibrahim and the Kingdom of Malaysia for providing opportunities for young East Timorese studying to pursue higher education in both public and private universities, and for providing healthcare service to many Timorese in need of better medical treatment in Malaysian public and private hospitals. We are also deeply grateful to the Kingdom of Malaysia, particularly to Yang Amat Berhormat Prime Minister Dato Seri Anwar Ibrahim as the ASEAN chairman for actively campaigning Timor-Leste's ASEAN membership. Indeed, ASEAN membership is both a national and a strategic priority. The Democratic Party believes that accession to ASEAN will accelerate our economic growth, increase business opportunity, enhance connectivity, improve human development, promote cultural exchange, and boost tourism. With this goal in mind, the Democratic Party hopes that under the leadership of Yang Amat Berhormat Prime Minister Dato Seri Anwar Ibrahim, Timor-Leste will officially join ASEAN in October 2025. Reflecting of ASEAN's history, the Democratic Party deeply appreciates the for nearly 6 decades ASEAN has been built on a foundation of trust, dialogue, and consensus building. This foundation has enabled member countries to manage differences and prevent disputes from escalating both within the region and globally. However, the Democratic Party is also concerned about the current international order, which is under strain. Moreover, the world is currently facing an unprecedented level of fragmentation characterized by major power rivals and geo-economic competition, increasingly leading to more complex politics and contradictory global environment. Certainly, ASEAN cannot control or dictate the themes of today's global dynamics. Nevertheless, the Democratic Party encourages ASEAN countries, particularly Yang Amat Berhormat Chairman and Prime Minister Dato Seri Anwar Ibrahim, to comfort this sovereign reality with clarity to purpose and vision. The Democratic Party believes that under your leadership, ASEAN can navigate the uncertain strategic landscape and global economic headwinds. Therefore, ASEAN member states must continue to be a voice of reason and resilient community committed to peace, stability, and prosperity for the region and the world. In closing, the Democratic Party wishes you a successful visit and memorable stay in Dili, the capital of our half-island nation, Timor-Leste. Thank you.
De seguida, dou a palavra à bancada da Fretilin.
Yang Amat Berhormat Dato Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Your Excellency, the President of the National Parliament, Your Excellency, the Prime Minister of Timor-Leste, Honorable Members of Parliament, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with deep respect and honor that I rise today on behalf of the members of the Fretilin Party bench to warmly welcome Your Excellency and your distinguished delegation to our homeland, Timor-Leste. Your presence in these parliaments, the highest democratic institutions of our nations, reflects not only the strength of diplomatic ties between Timor-Leste and Malaysia, but also the enduring spirit of solidarity, mutual respect, and shared values of democracy, pluralism, justice, and human dignity that binds us as neighbors in Southeast Asia. This visit comes at a crucial moment as Timor-Leste advances towards full ASEAN membership and as our region faces pressing challenges in a rapidly changing world. It is a moment to reaffirm that our engagement must always be guided by the principle of democracy, inclusiveness, and respect for sovereignty. We will never forget the solidarity shown in 1999 when Malaysian forces joined the Interfaith Peacekeeping Mission, helping to restore peace after our independence referendum. The commitment demonstrated Malaysia's responsibility for regional peace and the dignity of nations. We also recall with appreciation the historic visit of Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, then Prime Minister of Malaysia, who extended early recognition and support to our struggle. His visit symbolized Malaysia's consistent friendship and helped strengthening our place in the Southeast Asian family. Today, Malaysia continues to contribute to Timor-Leste's capacity building, particularly through education and training. Many of our youth and public officials have studied in Malaysia and are now contributing to the development of our country. For this, we express our deep gratitude. Excellencies, our two nations are united not only by history and geography, but also by a belief in the rule of law, parliamentary democracy, multicultural coexistence, and the dignity of all communities. Both Timor-Leste and Malaysia understand that prosperity and peace depend on giving every citizen, regardless of background, dignity, voice, and opportunity. Looking ahead, we see real potential for cooperation in key strategic areas. Food security, where Malaysia's agro-industry experience can support Timor-Leste's agricultural modernizations. Entrepreneurships and MSMEs, especially empowering women and youth to lead inclusive growth. Green economy and renewable energy, as climate change demands regional solidarity. Digitalizations to ensure ASEAN futures as integrated modern community. Excellencies, as opposition member of parliament, we support Timor-Leste's integrations into ASEAN, but we insist it must be accompanied by internal reforms so that we are not just participants, but active contributors to regional stability and prosperity. ASEAN must be more than an economic entity. It must also embody democracy, inclusion, and justice. We also raise a matter close to our hearts, the rights of Timorese workers abroad, many of whom are in Malaysia. We thank the Malaysian government for opening its doors, but we encourage stronger dialogue to ensure their recruitment, protections, and dignity for all workers, especially women. Your Excellency, strengthening ties between our parliaments is also essential. Exchanges between committees, joint learning on governance, and youth engagement can help deepen our shared democratic traditions. Malaysia's experience in parliamentary democracy and your own personal sacrifice for justice and against corruption inspires us in Timor-Leste. Excellencies, friends, and colleagues, this is more than a meeting of two governments. It is a reaffirmation of the friendship between two people who share common values and a vision of peace, equality, and dignity of nations. On behalf of the Freteling Bench, we thank you for your visit and for Malaysia's enduring friendship. Let us continue to nurture this relationship not only through diplomacy and trade, but through solidarity, mutual respect, and shared responsibility for a better future. Obrigada, Barak. Terima kasih.
De seguida, dou a palavra à bancada do Conto.
Sua Excelência, a Presidente do Parlamento Nacional, Sua Excelência, o Senhor Primeiro-Ministro da Malázia, Dato Seri Anwar Ibrahim, honoráveis membros do Parlamento e do Governo, ilustres convidados, senhores e senhoras, bom dia a todos. Senhor Primeiro-Ministro, em nome do Partido Conto e do povo de Timor-Leste, tenho o prazer de dar as boas-vindas ao nosso país. Saúdo não apenas como Primeiro-Ministro do seu governo, mas também como amado e respeitado líder de uma grande nação. Nossos países têm uma amizade e parceria de longa data que remonta à luta de Timor-Leste pela independência. A Malázia participou nas missões das Nações Unidas em Timor-Leste, com policiais e observadores militares, contribuindo tanto para a UNAMED quanto para a subsequente UNMID. Esta ajuda contribuiu muito para os esforços de transição e construção da nossa nação. A Malázia também prestou assistência por meio de programas de treinamento, incluindo o Programa de Cooperação Técnica de Malázia e o Programa de Cooperação de Defesa da Malázia para ajudar a fortalecer a capacidade do pessoal de segurança de Timor-Leste. A cooperação atual entre os dois países abrange educação, saúde e transporte aéreo. A participação contínua da Malázia demonstra seu compromisso ao longo prazo ao desenvolvimento e à estabilidade de Timor-Leste. A Malázia foi o primeiro país a enviar seu chefe de governo para visitar o recém-independente Timor-Leste. E o primeiro país da Ásia a estabelecer uma embaixada em Dili. Esta é a segunda vez que um chefe de Estado da Malázia nos visita desde nossa independência em 2002, com o primeiro-ministro, Dr. Mahathir bin Mohamad, sendo o primeiro em 2013. Hoje, mais uma vez, temos a honra e o orgulho de receber o primeiro-ministro da Malázia em nosso país. Senhor Primeiro-Ministro, a Malázia, sob uma administração, continua a servir como um grande exemplo de liderança excepcional na região do Sudoeste Asiático. É uma honra tê-lo aqui, porque seu país ocupa uma das áreas estratégicas mais importantes do Sudoeste Asiático. Em tempos em provação e em tempos de esperança, a Malázia manifestou a mais alta responsabilidade e visão em prol dos melhores interesses da paz, segurança e prosperidade regional. Aproveito a oportunidade para agradecer o seu apoio, continue o seu papel significativo na adesão de Timor-Leste à Ásia. A sua assistência é vital para o nosso sucesso. Estamos gratos pelo seu trabalho, pelos seus esforços e pela sua contribuição, e acreditamos na sua visão de que a força da Ásia reside na sua abertura e na vontade dos seus membros de se apoiarem uns aos outros. Excelência, nós os timorenses partilhamos consigo e com o seu povo as mesmas esperanças para o futuro, a mesma dedicação à paz e o mesmo desejo de ver um mundo melhor. É com muito orgulho que o recebemos, numa altura em que todos nós nos preocupamos com a manutenção da soberania nacional e com a oportunidade de uma vida melhor para o nosso povo. Estamos particularmente animados com a sua visita. Primeiro-Ministro, o senhor e o povo malaio são sempre muito bem-vindos aqui em Timor-Leste. Que a sua visita sirva para fortalecer ainda mais a amizade e aprofundar a cooperação bilateral entre as nações, entre as nossas duas nações. Que Deus abençoe a grande nação da Malázia e que Deus abençoe Timor-Leste. Muitíssimo obrigado, senhora Presidente.
Por último, dou a palavra à bancada do PLP.
Yang amat berhormat Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim and the delegation, Her Excellency Speaker of the National Parliament, His Excellency Prime Minister, honorable members of Parliament, esteemed member of government, diplomatic corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the People's Liberation Party bench, we extend our warmest welcome and deepest appreciation for your visit. Your Excellency, your presence here today is not only a symbol of friendship, but also a reflection of the strong and growing partnership between our nations, particularly on several important sectors, including defense and security, accession into ASEAN, human resource development, economic cooperation, and healthcare, among others. In the realm of defense and security, Malaysia has been a crucial ally. Our nations have collaborated closely on peacekeeping missions and capacity building initiatives. This cooperation has enhanced our defense capabilities while fostering regional security and stability. Our National Defense Force are capable to safeguard national sovereignty and ensure the safety and well-being of our citizens. The safety for Timor-Leste means safety for the region.
Support for Timor-Leste's ASEAN accession. Malaysia's unwavering support for Timor-Leste's accession to ASEAN has been pivotal. As ASEAN Chair in 2025, Your Excellency has reiterated Malaysia's commitment to working closely with member states and dialogue partners to expedite our accession process. This support reflects our shared vision for a united and inclusive Southeast Asia. ASEAN membership will provide us a greater regional integration, economic opportunities, political dialogue, and cooperation. We appreciate Malaysia's consistency in supporting Timor-Leste's accession under your chairmanship. Malaysia has played a significant role in empowering our youth through human development initiatives, as many Timorese students have received scholarships to pursue higher education in Malaysia. These opportunities have fulfilled the gap on our human resources to enrich their knowledge and skills needed to contribute to our nation's progress. Investing in human resources is vital for sustainable development and economic growth, as educated and skilled citizens form the backbone of a progressive society. On economic cooperation, in 2023, total bilateral trade between Malaysia and Timor-Leste reached $43.7 million. Areas of cooperation include infrastructure, services, agro-industry, livestock, among others, with further potential in the oil and gas sectors. We acknowledge that Timor-Leste's economic growth is far behind other ASEAN member states. Challenges include lack of employment opportunities at domestic level, less strategic investments that could stimulate economic growth and promote sustainable economy through economic diversification, and above all, to tackle multidimensional poverty. This has been an unfinished agenda for our sustainable development. One of the opportunities we have explored were through enhancing connectivity between our two countries. The inauguration of the Batik Air direct route between KL and Dili marks a significant milestone. On healthcare, we recognize that our health system is far from the people's expectations and hasn't responded yet to our constitutional mandate, particularly to transform the well-being of our citizens and building a resilient healthcare system. Therefore, our cooperation in this sector is extremely needed. We also acknowledge Malaysia's support in cultural and social areas, including promoting sepak takraw in Timor-Leste. Furthermore, the technical assistance and collaboration with local sports institutions for training programs, equipment provisions, and inter-school competitions. Last but not least, blue economy development and sustainable agriculture. As part of the broader ASEAN cooperation, Timor-Leste and Malaysia can collaborate on blue economy initiatives, including sustainable fisheries and maritime activities for the sustainable use of marine resources and the development of coastal communities. Cooperation in sustainable agriculture offers another avenue for collaboration to strengthen national food security and to avoid market-imported product dependency in the future. This will bring new hope for our farmers to improve the quality and quantity of our products for ASEAN markets. To conclude, we extend our deepest gratitude to Malaysia for its unwavering support and partnership. Your contributions have left an indelible mark on our nation's development and brought us closer to achieving our goals. As we look to the future, we are confident that our bilateral relations will continue to flourish, and together we will build a stronger and more cohesive Southeast Asia region. Thank you very much.
Sua Excelência Presidente do Parlamento Nacional, Senhora Maria Fernanda Lai, irá agora fazer a sua alocução.
Sua Excelência, desculpa, Senhor Primeiro-Ministro da Malázia e a sua distinta delegação, Senhor Presidente do Tribunal de Recurso, Senhor Primeiro-Ministro de Timor-Leste e os restantes membros do Governo, distintos deputados, distintos convidados, senhoras e senhores, é com indisfarçável orgulho que recebemos neste Parlamento, na pessoa do Senhor Primeiro-Ministro, Sr. Anwar bin Ibrahim, um estadista que personifica o espírito da democracia, o espírito de resistência e de um inabalável compromisso com a justiça. Excelência, a sua presença aqui hoje tem um significado especial para todos nós e a sua jornada de jovem ativista, passando por anos de prisão pela defesa dos seus princípios, até Primeiro-Ministro da Malásia, inspira não apenas o povo malaio, mas todos os que acreditam que a justiça sempre vence a opressão, que a verdade vem sempre ao de cima e que só quem luta com honra vence com honra. Pelo que, Excelência, o seu compromisso com a moderação, com o multilateralismo e com a dignidade humana é bem entendido por todos nós, timorenses. Esta é uma razão também pela qual esta sessão solene marca um momento histórico que fortalece os laços entre as nossas nações e celebra os valores partilhados que nos unem no Sudoeste Asiático. Minhas senhoras e meus senhores, a relação entre Timor-Leste e a Malázia assenta em raízes mais fundas que a mera geografia. Somos ambas nações forjadas pela luta pela independência. Timor-Leste emergindo do domínio português e Indonésia, a Malázia da administração britânica, e a nossa experiência partilhada de exigir o nosso lugar na família das nações cria uma unidade que ultrapassa a mera diplomacia formal. A prova disto mesmo é o facto de a Malázia ter sido muito mais que uma vizinha para Timor-Leste. A Malázia é um amigo e parceiro constante, seja no apoio à educação, na assistência médica, na assistência técnica e desenvolvimento de capacidades, e todo o apoio tem sido instrumental no nosso desenvolvimento como jovem democracia. Mais notório ainda, a defesa incansável da Malázia no processo de adesão de Timor-Leste à ASEAN, a qual demonstra um compromisso genuíno de ver o Sudoeste Asiático completo e absoluto. Excelências, sob a vossa liderança, a presidência malaia da ASEAN tem demonstrado o melhor da diplomacia do Sudoeste Asiático. A sua abordagem aos desafios regionais, desde os esforços de mediação em disputas territoriais complexas, até a promoção da integração económica, através de iniciativas como a Parceria Económica Regional Abrangente, exemplificado um modo ASEAN que pode ser definido como consenso, paciência e respeito mútuo. Para nós, Timor-Leste, a perspectiva de aderir à ASEAN representa mais que uma adesão formal a um grupo de nações, representa a conclusão de uma caminhada de regresso à nossa família regional, porque, como diz o ditado, todas as folhas um dia regressam às raízes. Estamos, pois, profundamente gratos pelo apoio da Malázia neste nosso empreendimento e bem compreendemos que a vossa defesa provém de uma visão da ASEAN que verdadeiramente procura representar todo o Sudoeste Asiático, geográfica e politicamente. Quando olhamos além da nossa região, encontramos-nos alinhados em muitos dos grandes desafios do nosso tempo com Vossa Excelência. Há um belo provérbio malaio que fala ao coração da nossa parceria: Berat sama dipikul, ringan sama dijinjing. Os fardos pesados são carregados juntos, os leves são levantados juntos. Esta sabedoria milenar captura perfeitamente o espírito da cooperação da ASEAN e mesmo a relação bilateral entre as nossas nações, sejam enfrentando o peso dos desafios globais ou celebrando os momentos mais leves de conquistas partilhadas. Timor-Leste e a Malásia permanecem juntos na parceria e amigos. Olhando para o futuro, desejamos ainda mais, porque é essa a nossa natureza, sonhar sempre um pouco mais longe, e por isso é nosso desejo ter uma cooperação aprofundada em múltiplas dimensões, relações comerciais reforçadas, intercâmbios educacionais, diálogos parlamentares, colaboração em tecnologia sustentável, que posicione a nossa região como líder no combate às alterações climáticas. Os desafios que enfrentamos são significativos: mudanças climáticas, desigualdades económicas, preocupações de segurança regional, todas questões que exigem a nossa atenção, mas estou confiante de que com os parceiros como a Malásia e líderes como Vossa Excelência, a ASEAN será mais forte e unida. Por fim, permite-me Vossa Excelência expressar a nossa gratidão pela sua visita e pela amizade da Malásia. A vossa presença aqui hoje honra não apenas o Parlamento Nacional, mas o nosso próprio caminho enquanto país. Terima kasih e muito obrigado.
Gostaríamos agora de convidar Sua Excelência, o Primeiro-Ministro da Malásia, Sr. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, a dirigir uma mensagem ao Parlamento Nacional.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. Thank you, Excellency Speaker Maria Fernanda Lee, Prime Minister Gusmao, party leaders, government and opposition, ladies and gentlemen. No, thank you. It is a wonderful experience to listen to voices from various party leaders by having one consensus, that we speak among friends with common aspirations, strong, fervent belief in democracy, justice, and compassion. We love our nations, and we have to honor our commitment to our people. So thank you very much on behalf of all Malaysians that witnessed today's function. I am eternally grateful for the friendly expression of friendship and a bond, not only among our two countries, Malaysia and Timor-Leste, but in the ASEAN fraternity. Terima kasih. Now, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, must also thank the Parliament Timor-Leste, because in the whole process of accession to ASEAN, you played a very pivotal role. You know the process to fulfill the governance corridor, economic corridor would demand changes in some rules that would meet the aspirations of ASEAN. Now, without your support and facilitating, in fact accelerating the process, it would have been very difficult indeed. So, on behalf of Malaysia and particularly the ASEAN community, may I thank you again of this dynamic, vibrant Parliament of Timor-Leste for the support. Thank you. Now I'm also excited today because in Malaysian Parliament I normally speak as leader of the opposition against the government bench, or now as Prime Minister looking at the opposition leaders. Here I'm speaking to the entire Parliament as one team, and I'm of course excited because rarely do you find such a consensus. Parliaments, of course, play a very crucial role in democratic accountability. Of course, beyond the legislative process, they serve as a platform where voices selected by the people participate in the decision-making process. They are, in essence, the beating heart of democracies and an institution that should be treasured and safely guarded. Now, you have said that Timor-Leste is a newly independent nation, as an emerging democracy. But believe me, I do follow the processes, the deliberations of this parliament. I must say, in confidence, that many so-called mature democracies in the East and the West must learn of the exercise, maturity, deliberations, and the vibrancy of parliament here in Timor-Leste. Some of you have referred to the trust deficit, where democracy, so-called mature democracies, are full of contradictions and hypocrisy. They talk about justice, dignity for some people, and they treat the former colonial regions and countries as still second class or third class citizens. So I, in my limited experience, do not get too enamored by these slogans and the mantra that many are preaching to us. But there is deficit in trust on democracies, of consistency in our policies. You treat Ukraine differently and Gaza, and we have difficulty therefore. What choice do you have? You have struggled, and I think in Southeast Asia, one of the few countries that have endured so much difficulties, tribulations, atrocities, and you come out as a new independent country with such confidence. So be true to our struggle and the struggle of our forefathers and mothers. That is to champion the rule of law, to ensure there is good governance and rid the country of corruption and abuse of power, and make sure that we truly represent the aspirations of our people in Timor-Leste or Malaysia, but consistently to ensure the dignity of men and women all over the world. And your voice will be voice of conscience and reason. I would certainly respect that. Now, Malaysia, of course, is maturing, and I'm delighted to hear that we have been rather consistent in this policy. Many of you mentioned pre-independence and post-independence. In a time when Dr. Mahathir Mohamad was Prime Minister, he showed such consistency and tenacity. And I think it is my duty now to ensure that ascension goes on track. Prime Minister Zanana Gusmao is aware that our commitment has been consistent, and whether one like it or not, Timor-Leste is part of Southeast Asia and it's part of ASEAN. And there's no reason why we should delay the process. There are, of course, difficulties. It's a new emerging economy. You have basic issues of infrastructure, of capacity building. It is our duty to assist one another. In fact, may I share this commitment? I've called upon Malaysian private sector, government-linked companies, Petronas, to come and work together and invest here. But I've always cautioned them, You are not an MNC, a multinational corporation that we have been used to in Malaysia, where the initial big companies come and exploit cheap labor and extort as much as possible. We do not want that to happen to our friends, be it in Timor-Leste or other countries that we are involved in. So please, bear with me on this. We make a difference. Our companies has been told to come here, of course, invest with profit, but always be reminded not to repeat the excesses when we emerge as an independent country and try to seek the assistance of other companies and countries that came purely to exploit what in the French word they say exploitation, harlom, parlom, just pure exploitation, not without regard to the welfare of the people here. That is why even companies like Petronas, the moment they come in, I said, look, capacity building, training, bringing them to universities, and prepare them to share our profit, prepare to share our understanding of what development entails. So I must again say this, that your extension to ASEAN will be very meaningful because you represent not necessarily a different, a more difficult one. We all know about Timor-Leste. I grew up my young days looking, listening, reading about what happened. In the flight from Kuala Lumpur to Delhi with my fellow ministers and senior public servants, we all express from our heart such sympathy for the atrocities, difficulties you have endured. So we don't come just as representatives of other countries. We come here as comrades in arms who share your sentiments, who share your aspirations and want to build and move and progress together, Timor-Leste and Malaysia, as two great friends in Southeast Asia. But we are also fortunate that in ASEAN, we share a common position in terms of viewing the geopolitical development. ASEAN this year talks about inclusivity and sustainability. How do we call ourselves inclusive when there is no connectivity in some countries? How do you call ourselves sustainable when you tolerate such disparity between the richer countries, the richer domains, and the poorer ones? That is precisely the reason why within ASEAN we promote this connectivity for inclusivity and sustainability, including the emphasis on connectivity, digital transformation, including AI, protecting our people, protecting our values, protecting the fact that these new technology should not exacerbate such divide between the very rich and the poor. At the same time, we promote energy transition, energy power grid between countries. Although Timor-Leste is a new member, but please be assured, whether as chairman of ASEAN or just as a Malaysian, we will continue to give all the support and work together with you to make sure that both countries and also ASEAN prosper. But having said that, let me give you personal experience and note here. We all talk about And thank again, and I think Malaysians will be happy to hear that, people do appreciate whatever little things we do to you. But let me say, there are a lot of things that you have done to us too. You have shown the tenacity of purpose, the courage of conviction, the spirit of the struggle. You have shown a relatively small country with an emerging economy such humanity and compassion. I mentioned to President Jose Ramos Horta last night in front of President Court of Appeal, the Speaker was there, and of course Prime Minister Sanana Gusmao. Can you imagine a new emerging country, relatively smaller economy, but such a big heart? You attained independence at a time when I was incarcerated in prison. But your voice made a lot of difference. The Secretary General of the United Nations then, Kofi Annan, mentioned that this government in this remote country, Timor-Leste, and the foreign minister was so adamant, confiding in him, appealing to him, the Secretary of the United Nations, do something, defend freedom, ensure justice for that man, Anwar Ibrahim, in Malaysia. Who did that? Not the leaders of great, powerful countries, but the small voices of conscience and reason from Timor-Leste. I salute you for that effort. So, towards the end of October, you are welcome to Malaysia, and the Speaker informed me about the enhanced collaboration among parliamentarians, economic collaboration, which is to me very critical for our economies, for our country, joint investments and collaboration to give advantage to countries. Yes, you talk about transparency, of course, transparency, and rule-based order. But at the same time, we must know, if we don't favor our poorer countries, the big economies will swallow us, and they have no compassion or concern. And that is, to me, the reason why your extension to ASEAN would also mean an enhanced collaboration to make sure that we do give importance to our neighbors, to our friends, to people we trust most. And I am, of course, delighted, because when I assumed the chairmanship last year, Prime Minister, I thought by whatever means necessary, I must persuade all governments and leaders within ASEAN and use all the influence and tricks that I have to get Timor-Leste as a full member of ASEAN. And I am proud to say, with of course naturally some difficulties here and there, some encumbrances, they give some excitement. Can you imagine a government like in Timor-Leste and the opposition don't give and create problems for them? And there will not be excitement. But don't tell this to the opposition in Malaysia. So take it. So I take it as in a stride in ASEAN. I am fortunate that I have good colleagues in the coalition. I have a strong foreign ministry that helped and worked very hard. Now, I'm not exaggerating. Neither do I want to downplay and give credit to the other member countries. They do support, but it wasn't easy for good reasons, because they think that we have decided on certain rules, certain corridors, including economic corridor. You must fulfill before you enter. I understand that and I appreciate that. But I also realize that when Malaysia was initially formed, we were a struggling country, politically, multiracial country, multireligious country, and various regions with tribes and races. The economy was just struggling based on just rubber and tin, no industry. And I can appreciate the fact that Timor-Leste, of course, in a better position as compared to when we gained independence. So without that empathy and compassion, we don't help one another. You have helped in many ways. We will continue to help within our capacity. And that is why your extension by October means by the time we venture into the new year, 2026, I believe you will have more presence of ASEAN countries here. You have more activities, and God willing, inshallah, we will all benefit. So I must thank you again, Madam Speaker and members of Parliament. On a lighter note, I wish when I speak in Parliament, people are just attentive and quiet, like the Parliament here. Although I can't guarantee that when the Prime Minister 𝐬𝐤𝐿 speaks, they will be this attentive. So thank you very much. I am speaking among friends. I am speaking to people that Malaysians love as much as you reciprocate your love to all Malaysians. Thank you very much. Terima kasih.
Damos assim por encerrada a sessão solene da visita oficial de Sua Excelência o Primeiro-Ministro da Malásia, Sr. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. Muito obrigada.
Distintos convidados, distintos deputados, damos por encerrada a sessão de hoje. Muitíssimo obrigado e continuação de um bom dia.